The PlayStation. Sony's attempted at coming into the video game industry and doing so pretty effectively, I might add. What started out originally as a deal between Sony and Nintendo to create a new disc-based console ended up launching Sony's video game career as the new head of gaming. The PlayStation was actually my introduction to the 3D gaming world. Before, it was just games on the Genesis like Sonic the Hedgehog 2. When I opened up the box on that Christmas day, little did I know it'd make me the gamer I am today. Now there's a handful of great PS1 games out there, but when on the subject of the console, you can't help but bring up Crash Bandicoot. I mean, he was the platforming mascot for Sony back in the day, competing with Mario and Sonic at the same time. Crash was also one of the few American video game creations that was very successful in Japan back in the 90s. In fact, a Japanese plush of Crash went through a serious design flaw and sparked the creation of Fake Crash, a character seen in Crash Bandicoot 3. With the original developers Naughty Dog parting ways with Crash to go on to make the Jak and Daxter series, along with a couple other fantastic franchises, what was left for Crash? He already had 4 games under his belt and he was swimming in all that cash, so what now? Since Universal owned the rights, they decided to cash in on the Crash flow with a party game. And it was alright, I guess. Then the world was hit in the face with something new. A new system, the PlayStation 2. Whoa! Look at these fancy graphics! New features, CDs, cool! But wait! What about Crash? A new Crash game on a new system? Well, multiple new systems in fact. Since Naughty Dog is a PlayStation-only developer, Universal had the rights to publish future Crash games on multiple consoles. Yes, even Nintendo. And the shiny new Xbox. So, what happened after all that? Well, this game, Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. As a kid, I'd always see this game pop up every now and then at a game store or online. I never actually played it, nor have I seen gameplay footage. I've only seen review scores. Man, I was surprised by these review scores. What did this game do differently that made all the reviewers go, eh? Well, not too long ago, I found this game in very good condition at my local game store. Without further delay, let's pop this in the PS2 and see how well it's aged. Taking place after the events of Crash 3, I think. Some people say it doesn't. I don't know. Uka Uka is harshly scolding the group of villains for not being evil enough, I guess. Hold on. Sorry. I'll explain later. Anyways, Cortex explains that it's not their fault. It's Crash's for always stopping them. Have you tried not making it blatantly obvious? Engine here spills the beans about Cortex's new super secret weapon.
Secret weapon you've been laboring over day and night since the last time Crash defeated you.
Face my wrath, Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about your friend vanishing over there. I'm sure he's fine. Next scene, we have Crash and Coco out to having a good time. Aku Aku notices that something's not right, way to go Captain Obvious, and goes to confront Uka Uka. Once Aku reaches him, it's revealed that Uka has released the Eternal Masks. Why are they so bad and surprising? I don't know. The game doesn't really tell us. All we get is a—
No, not the elementals. Uka Uka, why did you release them? Don't you know what happened the last time they were free?
They all attack him, and Uka comes back to explain the situation to the Bandicoots. And Lion for some reason. Coco says she's been working on a warping contraption thing. I don't know, I zoned out. And that's your plot summed up. Every now and then you'll get a little cutscene from Cortex and his super weapon, Crash Bandicoot, who's voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, best known for his work in The Cleveland Show, Lilo and Stitch, The Matrix, and Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Man, what a mouthful!
This is the creature who keeps sabotaging your master plan? Ha! You gotta be kidding! I'll exterminate this field rat in no time!
Now, on to graphics and gameplay. And man, this game is ugly. That's why I was vomiting earlier. This game looks gross. Look at Cortex. He looked better on the PS1. Coco has a triangle for a mouth. It's so small. Crash doesn't even have a neck. His shoulders are his ears. Look at the way he moves. He can't turn without moving his arms too. It's not just the characters themselves, really. It's the whole game. The environments look so boring. The textures are compressed as hell, and the level design is so linear and boring. Yes, the first 3 Crash games were linear, but they were fun. They had interesting new mechanics that kept the formula fresh. What does this game do? Absolutely nothing. It's just Crash 3 on a new platform, copy and pasted. Don't believe me? Doesn't this hub look familiar? Don't these characters taunting you before a level seem familiar? Don't these power-ups seem awfully familiar? Don't some of these vehicles look familiar? So what are you doing in this game as compared to the others? You're doing the same exact thing as the last 2 games. Collecting gems and, for a 3rd time, power crystals. So original. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, Crash 3 was a great game. I wouldn't mind having it copied onto a new platform with fancier graphics and whatnot. Here's the thing. It might be copy and pasted, but a lot of things went wrong when moving it over. For example, the controls. Crash feels more slippery and sluggish. His controls aren't as tight as the other games, and it just feels really slow. This makes platforming a little tricky, as Crash doesn't like to keep his momentum at times. The animations also tend to look really awkward at times. Remember the old games when Crash would do his crouch jump and he'd reach for the sky? It just looks weird here. But I gotta say, I do enjoy watching Crash rock out on a guitar when he does the move. So, more in the gameplay department, Crash can do all the things that he did in Crash 3, obviously. Run, jump, spin, glide, dash, double jump, etc, etc. Most of these abilities are given to you at the end of a boss fight. But why do you have to collect the abilities that you got in the last game? Beats me. Probably the same reasons why Sonic loses all the Chaos Emeralds in every game. Jumping and spinning are your 2 ways of getting rid of enemies, and the enemies here are really uninspired. Most of them are carried over from old Crash games, or just a mishmash of a few. All basically have the same attack pattern. Walk back and forth. We've also got some new vehicles. My god, do we have some new vehicles. Let's see, we've got the Crash Glider, the Coco Ship, the Altisphere, Minecart, Jeep, Submarine, Scuba Diving, Firefly, Plane Thing, Scooter, Snowboard, Helipack, and the godforsaken Mech. That's a total of 12 different gameplay styles scattered throughout the game. Some are extremely pointless, like the Helipack. You start a level out in it and it's just gone within a few minutes. What's the point of introducing a new mechanic if you're just going to throw away after a minute or 2? When I play a Crash game, I want to spin and jump and slide and do Crash things, not manage a bunch of vehicles. Some of these vehicles control terribly, like the Sub. It's got very awkward turning controls that cause a lot of death. Sometimes I forget I'm playing a Crash game because of all these vehicles. The most original gameplay change is that now players can take control of Coco by herself. Her controls are more tolerable. She's not as fast as Crash and has more precise platforming. Instead of a spin, she has a spin kick. It's kinda hard to get used to at first because you never know how to really aim it, but I managed. She also has a sweep kick, which is completely useless. The last thing is, instead of a belly flop, she has a ground stomp. There wasn't too much shit being thrown at your face. It's a nice stroll from beginning to end. Well, unless you come to a vehicle segment. Now, I don't want to say this game is broken by any means. No. There's a lot of attention to detail in terms of how these levels work. But holy hell, that doesn't excuse it from the constant glitches I came across. Some are just hitboxes on enemies not really making any sense, but when it comes to game-breaking glitches, I'm gonna raise an eyebrow. Like this section here, I'll never forget it. I'm doing the slow monkey bar section, I break a box, and... perfect. I can't get out no matter what I do. I can't jump off or shimmy my way out. This is an instant turnoff for me. All this made me do was want to stop playing. I wasn't about to waste my time again going through that whole level just to get back to that section. That's another thing. Trial and error. One vehicle level that I've always hated doing are the Altosphere levels. This thing controls like trash. The momentum you gain is through the roof, and stopping is out of the question. If you're tumbling down a mountainside, that's it. Give up. Put your controller down and wait for it to just be over. Then, try again. That's not even the worst part. This vehicle is used for the first boss. Oh right, I forgot about the boss battles. To be honest, they're just really bland. That's why I forgot to talk about them. The first one is just rolling around until you hit a few rocks. The next is hopscotch. Then it's tag. Genie shootout. Okay, I actually kinda like this one. And finally, it's the floor is lava. Not really much to talk about. It's just hit, wait, alright, you did it. Okay, I know I've been really hard on the game at this point, but there are actually a few things I enjoy about it. For one thing, the pace of the game. It keeps a pretty steady pace. The only time you really have to stop is to think about how you're going to approach a certain obstacle, but speedrunning the game is a blast. It's also got a lot of charm. There's a moment when I found this X-ray section and I grinned at the originality. Little stuff like that is refreshing to see. Another thing is, it's Crash, and I love Crash, so of course I'm going to find some enjoyment out of the gameplay. That also goes with the soundtrack. Crash 4's soundtrack is okay. I really enjoyed a few tunes, but it's not as good as the original 3. It's not terrible by any means, no, but it's alright. The voice acting, who cares? It's Crash. So, what should you do? Shelve it? Or trash it? Well, Crash 4 attempted to bring the Bandicoot to the next generation of consoles, and it did. Kind of. With the awkward animations, atrocious vehicles, boring level design, and game-breaking glitches, it's hard to recommend this game to anyone other than hardcore Crash Bandicoot fans. But I did like the soundtrack, the Crash Bandicoot charm, and the smooth 60 frames per second. With that said, bottom shelf. Hey everybody, thanks again for watching my video of Crash Bandicoot, the Wrath of Cortex. If you like this video, leave a like. You know, to show me that you liked it. Also, click that subscribe button if you like my content and want to see more of it. Since we're on the subject of Crash, click here to watch a review of Spyro the Dragon. If you're not a Spyro guy, maybe you're a superhero guy. Click here to watch my video of The Amazing Spider-Man for the PS3. So pick your poison, and with that said, you all have a great day.